So President Miller, Board of Trustees, Bishop O, Chaplain Vangerud, esteemed faculty, staff, graduates, family, and friends, good afternoon. Okay, let's try that one more time. Good afternoon. And congratulations to all of you and your families on this momentous occasion. Today marks a major milestone on your walk of life, and I hope that all of you take a moment to congratulate yourselves, to look around you, and to be proud of what you've accomplished, because these moments are fleeting, and time does pass by. Because I assure you that it was really only a few years ago that I was 25. And I have now entered the world of 25 times 2 plus 1 year. And I know this day is all about the graduates, and I commend you, but I also want to thank Hamline University. Despite my having attended St. Catherine's University, I appreciate the fact that you are allowing me here and have bestowed upon me such a gracious degree. And so I hope that you will give me a few moments before I say something specific to the graduates to just introduce myself to you. As I've learned growing up on the reservation, it is important that we say something about ourselves so that you know and hope that you will find some meaning in the words that I'm about to say to you. For those of you who don't know me, I was born in St. Paul, but I grew up in Federal Dam, Minnesota. Federal Dam, remember that. It is a place that I am extremely proud of. Population 106 on a good day. Has anybody been to Federal Dam? Oh, good. Look at people who have been to Federal Dam. I applaud you. My mother, Cecilia Waddles McKeig, is from Bemidji, and it's really her fault, President Miller, because she attended St. Catherine's University. She was a Fulbright scholar, double majored in German and social science, taught English in Germany, and graduated with honors. And then she went on to the University of Minnesota, where she received her master's in history. So she set the bar just a little bit high. She had dreams of entering the Peace Corps and traveling around the world to spread the message and for her to really assist others, which was a lifelong dream for her. But she also played in a dance band. She is a piano player, and she would play gigs to earn extra money. And so she was home one weekend playing a gig in Federal Dam, and she met my father, Big Dog Monty McKeig. Now, my dad is the complete opposite of my mother. My mother I would describe as, well, she's here, so I have to be pretty nice. Although she doesn't have her hearing aid in, so maybe she won't hear me. She's actually very kind, non-judgmental, extremely intelligent, wise, and very giving. My father, a very soft-spoken Native man who's a descendant or a member of the White Earth Nation, loved Federal Dam. He was born in Onagum at the Indian Health Hospital and grew up in this hometown where his father worked the railroad and his mother was a teacher. And even though my dad, I'm sure, valued education, for him it was more important to be able to get your hands dirty. He was a 49er, and he believed in good, strong physical labor. And if you couldn't work hard, I don't think he held a whole lot of value for you. And so he met this woman one night while she was playing piano at a dance, and he came home and pronounced to his mother that he had met the woman that he was going to marry, which seems really odd coming from my dad, and also odd that it actually happened because, don't listen to this, mother, she was engaged 7 times. Does that not seem excessive? I mean, there is the word no thank you. Not right now. Would you have been a little heartbroken, sir, if somebody had said yes and then they had to give the ring back? Right? Doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun. Well, imagine my poor grandfather had to do that 7 times. But My father captured her heart, and they married in 1963. Now, some will say, including herself, that the best child was born in February of 65, my oldest brother, Mike. What has he done for her lately? Nothing. The next mediocre brother was born in 66. By far, the best child finally came in February of 67, followed by two more very mediocre boys in 70 and 73. You think I'm joking? Now, my dad had promised my mother that he would make a go of trying to live in the Twin Cities. And for any of you who are not from the Twin Cities and who traveled here today from rural parts of the state, you understand what a sacrifice that would be. Because just coming to the Twin Cities for a celebration like this would have been a challenge, and one that my dad did not do willingly. But he did come to St. Catherine's when I graduated from college, and he also came to Hamline Law School when I graduated in 1992. But after packing up 4 kids and heading north every Friday night, my mother decided that it was time to give up and to head back north, and so we did. And we moved back to Federal Dam when I was 3, placed a double-wide trailer on a piece of beautiful property, and there is where life began for me. Now, I will say that I love Federal Dam so much that I have actually already purchased my cemetery lot. Perhaps a little downer, but not really, because it was $50. Where can you purchase your cemetery lot for $50? And I think that's actually 6 lots, isn't it? Yeah, 6 lots. So me and some of my best friends can be buried together. Growing up in Federal Dam was a great life. There was a lot of freedom. We drove vehicles well before the age of being legal. We went fishing, we went hunting, we had 3 gardens, and although we didn't make a lot of money, sometimes I think the years were quite sparse for a family of 7. It would have been well under $30,000 a year, but I never knew that. All I knew is that I had mediocre brothers and a lot of fun. Now, in 9th grade, I decided that I was going to be a lawyer after I'd written a report about going to be a dentist. In this report of being a dentist, I had placed the giant mouth from the Rolling Stones. You all know who that is now, right? This is a good thing. There have been some people who have never heard of them, but they're coming back. So I had that giant mouth on the front, and I was going to be a dentist, and then I realized it required a lot of science. Now, some of you that are in this audience are probably very well versed and educated and love science. I am not one of them. I knew that science was something that I very much struggled with, and so that was not a good plan. So plan B was that I was going to be a country music singer. I was going to Nashville. I go out walking after midnight, out in the moonlight, just like we used to do. I'm always walking after midnight, searching for you. Not too bad, right? Okay, so here's where my mom comes in again. She did that's a good plan, but you should have a backup plan. In other words, you won't be making it to Nashville. So she told me I should go on to college and finish my desire to be a lawyer, go to law school, and then perhaps after I was done with all of that, if I still wanted to be a country music singer, I could do so. As you can see, that has not worked out. But I graduated from high school, went on to college, then went on to law school, graduated from here in '92, and then was fortunate enough to land a job in the Hennepin County Attorney's Office. I am married. I have 5 children, 4 of whom made it all the way over here today. They're over yonder. Wake up. Seiko's trying to avoid my look. Yes, I'm looking at you. And there's Itzel. Where's Caleb? Caleb, don't hide. You're not hiding. They're hiding. They didn't even want to come today. Well, Caleb for sure didn't want to come today, and he certainly did not want to have to put on a jacket or a suit, but I digress. I could go on for a while about that. But I am married. I have 5 kids. I love all of my kids. They're the greatest thing that ever happened to me. My 3 older children immigrated from Mexico after their father immigrated from Mexico. We married. I had 1, then the 3 came, then we had another, and then their mother immigrated to Minnesota as well, and all of us lived under one roof for a good 9 months, because that's what it's about, is all 5 of those kids. So, yeah, that should a round of applause. It's not easy being married, and then when your husband, yourself, and your husband's ex-wife living in the same house, I don't think that's normal. But it worked out just fine. Look at them. They look good. So why do I tell you all this? I tell you all this because this has been part of my journey. And when I went from college, I had no idea what I was going to do in law school to a job. I had no idea what that job was going to mean, but it was the job of a lifetime, because I was working on behalf of kids who are abused and neglected. And there's no job more important in my mind than we as a community taking care of our youth. And so one day I watched a judicial officer, well, his name was Robert Blazer at the time, and I had heard that he was going to become a judge. He was the first guy from the White Earth Nation who was going to be a district court judge in the Twin Cities. And I went to his investiture, and I sat in the back, and I watched, and I thought, maybe one day I could do that too. I then had the good fortune of him coming down to the juvenile court, where I appeared before him, and he made it his job to become my mentor. Now, some of you may be thinking, why would he do that? And especially if you know me, you would be thinking, why would he do that? Because it was a big job. I was a lawyer who was 25, and I was listening to the bishop, and I'm sorry, but back then I thought I knew it all. I really thought I knew it all. I didn't have any fear. I was in court. I was one of those who rolled her eyes all the time. Are any of you eye rollers? Somebody says something that you think is not so great, and you're like, oh my gosh. Throw the pen. And he would call me back, McKeig, in my chambers. And he spent a lot of time mentoring me so that one day I could get on the district court bench, which is what happened. And then after being on the district court bench for a while, he came to me and he said, there's an opening on the Minnesota Supreme Court. And I said, oh, are you going to apply? And he said, no, you are. And I thought, now you have been partaking in something this afternoon. And he said, no, I have not. And he said, it is time for someone from our community, the Native community, to have a seat at the table. We have no seat at any table on any high court in the United States. And the time has come for that to happen, and it's going to be you. Well, I had to become a little serious for a few moments and really think about that and take that in. And so I thought, well, all right, I'll apply, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to get the job. Make a long story short, I did apply, made it through the interview process. I got before the governor, and one day I got this phone call while my family was on vacation in Mexico, which for me meant that I was on vacation in Minnesota. No offense. Phone rings and it says Governor Dayton. And I'm trying to think, like, how can I be all suave rico answering the phone like he could see me? So I'm like, hello? He said, this is Governor Dayton. This is Ann McKeig. Like he didn't know that. Yes, he said, I'm calling. How are you? I'm fine. He said, can you keep a secret? No. I mean, I knew the answer was no. Actually, I knew the answer was not a chance in. But I said, yes, of course I can. And he told me, I want to appoint you to the Minnesota Supreme Court. And it was at that moment that I thought, what is this going to mean for Federal Dam? What is this going to mean for the Indian community? What is this going to mean for my family? And will everyone be proud? Will they be supportive? Will they be okay with this? Can I take on this responsibility? Because if I get it wrong, I may be closing the door for others who are coming after me. So I made it onto the court, and I had been there for a couple of months, And I was having one of those days where I thought, I really do not belong here. They were having conversations, they were using words that I didn't understand, that I didn't want to understand, and I so firmly wanted to keep one foot planted in Federal Dam. I didn't want to change who I was or have to become something different to do this job, which was a very different job than what I had been doing. And it's not because my colleagues were unkind. I had great colleagues, I have great colleagues, they were welcoming, but it was a different world that I was entering and one that I was unfamiliar with. And so I had written a letter to Justice Sonia Sotomayor, and I don't do that very often, although I will admit I have written to Oprah. That's another story. But I had written to Sonia Sotomayor, and I had told her that I appreciated her book where she talked about growing up in the Bronx. She was a poor woman of color. She was surrounded by many, many issues, including diabetes, which is what my father died from. And I told her that she was an inspiration for me when I thought about making that application to the Supreme Court. So I'm having a bad day, the phone rings, and it's Justice Sonia Sotomayor's office. And she is coming to the Twin Cities, and she called my staff and said that she would like an audience with the justice, meaning me. So when you're new on the court, you're supposed to be humble, know your place, don't run around with, a big attitude. And I had been really good about that, Bishop, I want to report. But in this moment, I went down the hall and I said, so, Justice Sotomayor is coming to town. Are you going? Oh yeah, do you want to ride together? Oh, I can't. I'm sorry. She's asked for an audience with me and I get to go talk to her. And they were all like, what? Like, you're the junior member of the court, you've just been here for a couple of months, how is this happening? I'm thinking, I have no idea, but I am going. So I go and I meet her, and the first thing that I said to her was, did you ever feel like you didn't belong? And she told me, every day. And she said, that is why you must stay where you are. You must continue to do the work that you are doing. It is important. It is not about you, and you will be fine. And it was in that moment that I really, really needed to hear that, because I was thinking, what is a girl from Federal Dam doing on the Minnesota Supreme Court? And she made it very clear to me what my role is on that court. So I tell you this because I think there's going to be many times in your professional life or in your personal life where you're either going to feel like you don't belong, or is this the right path for you? You may question yourself, and I'm telling you, don't. It's all going to be fine. You are just beginning another path, another chapter, another page. You will all succeed as you just proceed forward. And I finally want to say this to you because I think that many of us place big expectations upon ourselves, and we don't really give ourselves a whole lot of time or opportunity to be grateful. So as I've said to you today, pat yourselves on the back, not only all these people who have come here to support you, but know that you are just beginning yet another journey. It might be the end of your professional education, but certainly not the end of your life education. And if you want your life to be a magnificent story, then begin by realizing that you are the author, and every day you have the opportunity to write a new page. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you for allowing me to be here, and best of luck.